Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. NBA analysts are saying that the ideal signing for the Warriors to bounce back this season would be Michael Porter Jr. The Golden State Warriors face a defining moment. Their hot 4-1 start sparked optimism, yet the momentum vanished within weeks. They now sit in the middle of the Western Conference picture and need immediate reinforcements. Steph Curry's quad contusion and age make that urgency sharper. At 37, he cannot carry the scoring every night. The roster lacks reliable help, size at the forward spots and consistent secondary scoring. Management must decide whether to protect the future or make an aggressive move now. That is why the idea of Warriors pursuing Michael Porter Jr. has shifted from speculation to genuine possibility. Warriors predicted to land Michael Porter Jr. in all-in trade. Why Michael Porter Jr. fits the immediate need. Porter Jr. brings size, shot-making and elite movement shooting. He stands 6'10" and thrives in off-ball actions. He is averaging 24.3 points, 7.4 rebounds and efficient scoring across all three levels. His high-volume three-point attempts align perfectly with Golden State's system. Porter Jr. also eases Curry's workload on both ends. He gives the Warriors a legitimate scoring forward who stretches defenses and forces constant attention. Porter Jr. understands championship environments and the demands that come with them, which strengthens his fit further. How the trade could change the floor plan. Michael Porter Jr. would immediately reshape the Warriors' offensive geometry. His gravity opens driving lanes, widens screens, and boosts every off-ball set. His size provides better matchups against bigger wings, while his shooting sharpens Golden State's spacing. Curry benefits from the added movement threat, while Porter Jr. benefits from Curry's gravity. Both can score without heavy dribbling, creating efficient, synchronized possessions. I see the Michael Porter Jr. conversation as a potential shift in the Warriors' core identity. An admission that they need a dominant scorer beside Curry. They should do right by him. The market and the price. Brooklyn is in the second year of its rebuild and has shown openness to moving veterans for assets. That environment allows the Warriors to position themselves for Michael Porter Jr. Golden State can offer Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody or Buddy Hield as salary pieces. They also own their full set of first-round picks, which strengthens their leverage. Adding Day'Ron Sharpe could address multiple gaps at once. The front office must gauge how much of tomorrow they are willing to part with to maximize Curry's window today. Risk, reward and the deadline calculus. Porter Jr. does come with injury concerns from his earlier seasons. Golden State just need to look back to last season when he played through a shoulder injury for Denver in the playoffs. He plays with a brace, so you know he's tough as nails. Porter Jr. answers three pressing needs: size, secondary scoring and athleticism. He provides playoff-level shot-making, positional flexibility, and system compatibility. The reward outweighs the risk for a franchise trying to salvage a season and protect its competitive identity. The Porter Jr. scenario grows more logical the deeper one analyzes both teams' timelines. Conclusion: a clear directional choice. Acquiring a high-volume wing like Michael Porter Jr. will redefine the Warriors' path and re-energize their core. It would, however, require valuable assets and a firm commitment to the present. The trade deadline inches closer, and the Warriors know that Curry's competitive window demands urgency. Their next move will define what remains of the dynasty's final chapter. Warriors must make painfully obvious change after Jonathan Kuminga's return. The Golden State Warriors just got forward Jonathan Kuminga back after he missed the team's last 8 games with tendonitis. Given how much they have struggled without him, he may make an impact with his return. On the other hand, he was benched prior to his injury, and his recent comments suggest that there is still a rift between him and the organization. That makes the decision to trade him all the more obvious, and Golden State should absolutely do so once January 15, 2026, rolls around. January 15 is the earliest the Warriors can legally trade him, and they should be anxious to do so, even though they are struggling. At 10-10, Golden State needs a shake-up, and despite his inconsistent play, he had several trade suitors this past summer. The Sacramento Kings, Chicago Bulls, and Phoenix Suns were rumored to have interest in him, and each team could be willing to revisit a Kuminga trade come January. The Warriors must finally be done with Jonathan Kuminga. The Kings, according to Yahoo Sports' Jake Fisher, are willing to trade almost every player on their roster, including Domantas Sabonis. A more realistic option might be Malik Monk and Keon Ellis in a deal for Kuminga. Getting 2 rotation players for one might appeal to the Warriors, who can start fresh without having to worry about Kuminga's development or losing him for nothing. Look, not having a former 7th overall pick work out isn't a good look for the Warriors. After all, he would be the second top 10 pick in the last 5 years to flame out, behind James Wiseman. The Warriors must prioritize moving on over holding out. That being said, that would be sunk cost fallacy. Golden State would be far better off just moving on and seeing what they can get for Kuminga rather than keeping him and hoping for a better deal or that he will figure it out and be an impact player for them. The latter is likely never going to happen, even despite him having a strong start to the season. Even with him back from injury, he will be coming off the bench and forced to have to prove himself again. Therefore, trading him will be the far better choice, not only for Golden State but for Kuminga as well. That makes the Warriors' decision painfully obvious when Kuminga returns. Warriors will finally get the free agent signing they need after a painful wait. Seth Curry plans to sign with the team on Monday. So far this season, the Golden State Warriors, contrary to expectations, have struggled to prove themselves as an elite team on both sides of the ball. Yet, as Shams Charania announced, veteran sharpshooter Seth Curry plans to sign with the team on Monday, and, although his role will likely be limited, he will provide a vital skill set to Golden State upon his arrival, dependable shooting from beyond the arc on a night-to-night basis. Seth Curry intends to re-sign with the Golden State Warriors on Monday to a deal for the remainder of the season, sources tell ESPN. Curry, who shot an NBA best 45.6% from three-point range in 2024-25, joins older brother Steven on the Warriors for his 12th season in the. Therefore, beyond the heartwarming narrative of uniting the Curry brothers as they reach the end of their careers, Seth Curry also represents a timely addition for a Warriors team that desperately needs to get itself back on track. The Warriors will greatly benefit from the addition of Seth Curry, no matter how limited his role is. This offseason, as the organization attempted to navigate the prolonged saga of Jonathan Kuminga's restricted free agency, it quickly became clear that they intended to sign a trio of guards to complement veteran center Al Horford in their free agent class, Seth Curry, DeAnthony Melton, and Gary Payton II. Yet, from this group, Horford has yet to find his footing in his new role and environment, Melton has yet to play a game for the team, and Curry was ultimately cut, with the promise that he would be re-signed later, as a result of Golden State's cap situation. Hopefully, Curry's signing represents the beginning of this free agent class coming to fruition. Last season, through 68 games with the Charlotte Hornets, Curry averaged 6.5 points, 1.7 rebounds, and 0.9 assists on a diet of around 15 minutes per game. More importantly, however, he shot a league-leading 45.6% on his three-point attempts. While he took on low-volume, 2.7 attempts per game, as a result of his reduced role, there is hope for the Warriors that he can continue this scorching stretch as he enters the 2025-26 season, providing them with some desperately needed reliable play off of their bench. The team's backcourt is stacked with bodies, but, outside of their usual starting five, including part-time starters Brandon Podziemski and Moses Moody for the sake of accuracy, the team has only one player, Will Richard, who has proven to be a capable outside shooter this year. Buddy Hield and Quentin Post will, at some point, hopefully find their form, but, for now, the addition of Curry will give head coach Steve Kerr the luxury of having an extra player to turn to when the team needs a bucket. Melton's return is impending, and it remains to be seen how his minutes, let alone Curry's, will be balanced within the current iteration of the backcourt. Yet, for a team that desperately needs players that they can know what to expect from, Curry represents an important addition even if he operates in a limited role for the rest of the season. K's reunite, Warriors reportedly adding Steph's younger brother. The Curry brothers are reportedly reuniting. The Golden State Warriors are planning to sign Seth Curry for the remainder of the 2025-26 NBA season, according to ESPN, pairing him with older brother Stephen Curry, the star of the team. The move is meant to bring shooting to a roster that needs it badly. The Warriors are 11-10 and have struggled as of late, going 5-5 over their past 10 games. Golden State ranks 22nd in offensive rating, generating 113 points per 100 possessions. The Warriors are tied for 14th in three-point shooting percentage, 35.9%, but Steph Curry remains out with a left quad strain that has sidelined him for the team's last game, Saturday, November 29, against the New Orleans Pelicans. Steph Curry, 37, leads the Warriors with 27.9 points per game, which is tied for 12th in the NBA. Seth Curry spent training camp with the Warriors, and this will mark the first time the Curry brothers play for the same team. The Warriors waived Seth prior to the start of the season because of their salary cap situation. Seth, 35, has bounced around the league, with stops with the Mavericks, 76ers, Nets, Hornets, Trail Blazers, Kings, Suns, Cavaliers and Grizzlies. Steph is widely considered to be the greatest shooter of all time and is the NBA's all-time leader in three-pointers, with 4,133 across his 17 seasons. Seth also excels from beyond the arc, shooting 43.3% from three-point range in his career, which ranks 7th in league history. If you purchase through our links, the USA Today network may earn a commission. Prices were accurate at the time of publication but may change. Will Richard's honeymoon phase with Warriors may be over after latest news? Will Richard has been one of the biggest positives from an otherwise underwhelming first 21 games for the Golden State Warriors, yet the imminent additions of Seth Curry and DeAnthony Melton could mean the end of the rookie's honeymoon phase at the franchise. The Warriors announced on Saturday that Melton could make his long-anticipated return from injury as soon as this week, while reports emerged on Sunday of the front office's plans to sign Curry on Monday after being forced to part ways with the veteran sharpshooter at the end of preseason due to financial constraints. Will Richard's honeymoon phase at the Warriors could quickly come to an end. The return of Melton and Curry is only set to add to an already guard-heavy rotation, one that Richard has been able to slide into despite being taken with the 56th overall pick in June's NBA draft. One or multiple players are going to have to make way for Melton, who projects as a key player once he's up and running. For as impressive as Richard has been through his first 19 NBA games, he might be the easiest option for Steve Kerr to remove from the uncertain rotation. One could argue that's unfair and unjustified, particularly when Richard has been a solid starter for the Warriors across 7 of the past 9 games. However, history tells us that Kerr has no issue with yanking starters out of the rotation, or even doing the opposite by elevating non-rotation players into starting roles. Based on form so far this season, you could argue Richard deserves minutes over the likes of Brandon Podziemski, Buddy Hield, and Gary Payton too. Yet removing Podziemski or Hield completely from the rotation would be far more noteworthy and generate more controversy than if it were Richard, while Payton has won himself a few more games in the rotation with a surprise 19-point, 11-rebound performance against the New Orleans Pelicans on Saturday night. We've also got an understanding that strong performances from Richard don't necessarily translate to big minutes the following game. The 22-year-old was one of Golden State's best with 18 points and 6 rebounds in Wednesday's loss to the Houston Rockets, only to be removed from the starting lineup and play less than 20 minutes against the Pelicans. It feels inconceivable that Richard could lose his role in the rotation, but these updates on Melton and Curry could bring a classic Kerr move thanks to his notable faith in the veterans and Podziemski. The Golden State Warriors have reportedly parted ways with two-way contracted forward Jackson Rowe, according to NBA insider Mark Stein on Monday. The move comes shortly after the Warriors officially signed Seth Curry on Monday, having brought back the veteran sharpshooter following his initial stint with the team during preseason. Warriors have an open two-way spot after waiving Jackson Rowe. The Curry and Rowe decisions should be independent of one another, unless the Warriors have a series of transactions in mind rather than simply now filling their vacated two-way spot with another young player. Rowe had been a regular within the Golden State program for over 2 years, having joined the Santa Cruz Warriors ahead of the 2023-24 season. The 6 feet 6 inches forward continued to play in the G League and in Warriors Summer League teams, before finally getting the call-up with a two-way contract at the end of January. Rowe played 52 total minutes in 6 games with Golden State last season, averaging 3.7 points and 1.8 rebounds while shooting 47.1% from the floor and 30% from three-point range. His only legitimate minutes in the rotation came in early February when the Warriors were incredibly short-handed at the time where they made the blockbuster 4-for-1 Jimmy Butler trade. The Warriors, I'm told, are waiving two-way forward Jackson Rowe, but not before Rowe became the 13th at SUF Titan to reach the NBA. Mike Dunleavy Jr. and the front office are likely to already have a plan in place with the third two-way position, with Pat Spencer and Alex Toohey set to remain put in the other two spots. Spencer has already been active and played in 13 games with the Warriors this season, while Toohey has dealt with injury issues after being taken 52nd overall in June's NBA draft. One strong candidate for the now vacant two-way position is dynamic young guard LJ Cryer. As wrote about again here on Sunday, many fans were left frustrated at the fact Rowe remained on a two-way contract over Cryer following the conclusion of preseason. Despite being waived by the franchise, Cryer has remained with Santa Cruz where he's been a rare positive in a winless start to the season. The 24-year-old is averaging 24.3 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 6.3 assists on 44.4% shooting from the floor and a blistering 41.4% from three-point range on over 12 attempts per game. Even if the third two-way spot doesn't have much, if any, impact on the main Golden State rotation, waiving a forward for another guard might still be somewhat surprising given the franchise has just signed Curry and will likely welcome back DeAnthony Melton from injury later in the week.